All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to what is now a playoff week of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Big thank you to everyone out there, as always, for watching, for listening, following, subscribing. Appreciate you very, very much. Today's live episode on the video side is brought to you by Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbey Road, sunny Lackawanna, just minutes down the road from Highmark Stadium, a stadium that will be rocking. Joe from Queens with me live. We just found out minutes before going live here on the air. They will be rocking Sunday, 1 p.m. Bills, Denver wildcard round playoff game. We know that now. The Buffalo Bills did lose, and I guess I should use air quotes there when it's saying lose, their season finale Sunday afternoon at New England. 23-16. I barely even remember the score, which is more than I know. You don't probably know the score because you didn't even watch the game, man. Nope. Joe from Queens is with me live on the video side. What's going on, man? How you doing?
First off, let's talk about my beer first, because I don't want to talk about today's game at all. But unfortunately, I'm contracted, obligated to do this or whatever. So I'm having a Crusher IPA. It's 8.6%.
Nice.
I have not had this beer yet. It's been sitting in my fridge for a while now.
Oh, this is a first timer?
Yeah, it's the first timer. I think I let someone drink one of them. I got a 4-pack. It was when I went into Vermont in when the hell did I go to Vermont? In May of this past year. So okay. I'm excited about it. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I don't know why we're talking about this game today. I'm really, I don't know why you didn't get one of the content bros, on here to talk about it. I'm sure everyone wants to break down the film of I don't know who started today. It was Trip. It was Josh for like a second, and then
it was literally one play. He played one play.
Yes, very, very. I'm glad he
ceremonial handoff.
I'm glad he's extending that Iron Man streak that no one knew about till last week. Which I'm like, all right, extend away, buddy. Like,
I actually seen a couple and I'm gonna call them haters because if you're bitching about that, you're a hater.
Oh, okay, I'm not bitching about it.
No, see,
it's not really a record. It's bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. I don't care.
It is fine. Now, if he was hurt and he was injured and he came out there on a broken leg and handed the ball off once in the finale to keep a streak going, that would be weak. He was healthy enough to play. He deserved to come out there and have a handoff to keep a streak when he's played through a lot of bullshit, a lot of injuries to keep going. You were telling me minutes before we just went on the air here.
Let's go over the much cooler stuff.
That it seems much more interesting to you, at least anyway.
A couple things.
You had an encounter today with someone, didn't you?
Kind of an encounter. Okay, so I went today, so I didn't watch the game because Pat doesn't pay me, and I'm not watching a bunch of backups.
Is that really why you didn't watch it?
Yeah.
Not because of that, because I mean you just had no interest in watching the game.
No, none. I have not. I didn't. No. Why would I watch
a live post-game show with a co-host who has no interest in watching the game? That's what it's all about.
I told you last week I was not going to watch this game. I was being serious. I ended up going to the American Dream Mall, which is in North Jersey. It's right across the street from where the Jets and the Giants play. And it's like their big fucking mall there.
Sure.
And it's huge. It is gigantic. There's a theme park in it. There's a water park in it. There is a ski slope in it. It is ridiculous. It's one of those like, hey, we built a stadium, so we got to build around the area because it's in Rutherford, New Jersey. No one cares about that area, so let's just build the biggest mall ever there. So I guess technically I didn't see him, but everyone in my party saw him, and I turned around to try to find him, and Tracy Morgan was at the mall today. Yeah, and I missed him, and then everyone said like, "Oh, Tracy Morgan was at the mall." It was right, and I turned around trying to look for him. I guess he's in a wheelchair because I guess he got in a bad accident a couple of years ago. Yep. I don't remember. I just don't remember it. I guess dad brain. I don't remember any of that. So yeah, he was there. Everyone saw him. I did not. Kind of. I have to admit. So it's kind of a BS thing. I'm like, he was at the mall today. So yeah. So that's what I did. What else did I do today? That was so much better than watching that game. I ate at a bakery that was named after my mom. It was called Rosetta Bakery, so that was nice. There's 2 ice rinks there as well. So there's 2 ice rinks at this mall. It's like an incredible. It kind of had me thinking about like, if the Bills decide or the Orchard Park County, whatever city, whatever the fuck it's called, like are they going to build something next to the new stadium to try to bring people over there, like a random
Yeah, it's called the Big Tree, O'Neill's, and Prohibition.
Yeah, well, I think they might have to expand that, but who knows? And I was like, would this work? Because this thing was huge. I mean, it's New Jersey, obviously. It's a giant metropolitan area with New York City and Philadelphia south, and you have Jersey. It's no joke. So I was like, maybe they'll get something like this because it was awesome. Like I took pictures of a Ninja Turtle van that was there at the mall. It was awesome, and I took it with my son. Again, things that are much better than recapping this game today.
Well, we're not really. It's not.
No,
really
it's a recap. You can't wait. You got notes. You're breaking it down.
I'm a professional, dude. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Professional. You don't pay anyone. Your notes. You come up with notes in like 5 minutes, okay? And
that's kind of true.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes of notes, and then you won't allow me to ever bring up topics. So I have to ambush topic you on here because I know you can't stop me when we're live, pal. But yeah, so I did that. My son looked really cute today. We hung out. We were at this mall from like 12 until 5. So I did get alerts. I saw that people scored. No one got hurt. And that's all I cared about. No one got hurt. People got paid. Bring on the Broncos, and that's it. So I don't know what you got
the show,
planned.
Folks. Thanks for stopping by.
We should just go into Cobra Kai, Netflix, WWE after we talk about the playoff. But go ahead. I'm just going to sit here and quietly judge the waste of time we're about to go through. So
I don't think it's a waste of time.
Go ahead. Talk about Matt Barkley. No, Mitch Trubisky, whatever his name was. Mike White. Talk about that.
All right, I'm back. I had a mic issue there for a quick second.
Yeah, you did, and I thought it was my mic issue.
No, it's fine.
Thanks a lot, bro. Great. I'm like trying to adjust. Go
AFC,
ahead.
all 3 games, the first 3 games are all AFC games. Kicking off with the Chargers at Houston Saturday afternoon, Pittsburgh at Baltimore Saturday night, and then the Bills do play Sunday at 1:00 against Denver. The last thing I want to do right now on this show or just all week long is be stupid enough to get ahead of myself and, treat Denver like it's a bye week because it's absolutely not going to be. We'll talk about that in just a little bit here. But this schedule tells me, 2 things. Number one, I love that the Bills are playing. I'm a Sunday 1 p.m. guy, always have been, always will be. So I obviously love that. I look at the way the schedule is constructed, and if the Bills are to advance, if they do win, I feel like this schedule tells me that they would definitely be playing Saturday, very likely Saturday night in the divisional round. Because if you look at the NFC, they got a late afternoon game, a Sunday night game, and a Monday night game. They're not going to turn around, I don't think, and put a Saturday game on. I suppose a Saturday night game is at least possible, but sure. 4:30 Saturday will definitely be the Chiefs coming off a bye. But yeah, round 2, I would probably guess, looking at that, it would be Saturday night. Again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but we're playing the Denver Broncos. You know that now. Quick reactions to that without getting into the game. I will say this. Now, you said you didn't watch the Bills. I'm assuming you really didn't watch any football today. This was a afternoon where I anticipated a lot of stress, especially after Saturday night when Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh. I was like, here we go. Things are falling into place. I didn't necessarily expect the Chiefs to beat Denver, but I expected a competitive game. And it was like 24-0, I think, by the half. So that shit was over. And then Miami kind of folded against the Jets. But Denver kind of, this will be one of the last nice things I say about them all week. But they took a lot of stress off the backs, I think, of Bills fans, because most people wanted nothing to do with Cincinnati. And Denver made sure early on that was not something we'd have to worry about.
Can I ask, off the top of your head, do you ever remember, aside from Steelers Bills 2004, where a team had to win or whatever, and they were playing backups and they lost? Like, when has that happened where everyone was just like, yeah, we're done? Like, and it's funny because watching that game or seeing the highlights of it, I thought to myself of 2004, like, how the hell did we lose to the Steelers, to their backups? I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, depth in this league is not great. Okay, when you have to like have a full-fledged, like, we're getting all of our star guys out of there. Like, you should get obliterated. And that's what I was thinking to myself. Like, the Chiefs, the world champions, 3-time freaking Super Bowl champs, they're awesome, got obliterated today because they played their backups. And I just thought to myself, my God, like, I don't know, I just thought about 2004 and like how they blew that. But either way, that's my thought process of that. So yeah, I understood the stress. I wasn't really keen on.
You never know, and you are right. It probably never happens, like with the exception of the Willie Parker game in 2004. I knew, we knew Pat Mahomes and Kelsey weren't going to play, and then it was kind of obvious Chris Jones wasn't going to play. But it wasn't until closer to game time where I realized the Chiefs weren't playing anybody. I mean, nobody on their defense or offense saw a snap. Literally nobody. So yeah, anyway, my point was Denver took a lot of stress off the table. If you were concerned about playing the Bengals, that was never something that really ended up getting entertained on Sunday. As for the Bills game, like I said, they lose 23-16. They finished 13-4. From a historical perspective, I suppose the only thing kind of sucks was if they would have won this game, they would have set a franchise record for the most wins ever with 14, but that's certainly nothing close to enough to make you, risk getting starters hurt. What?
If I could ask you a question, do you care about that? Because, and I say this, I frame it this way, they expanded. It's a 17-game season.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, yes, they would have set the record, but they would have had an extra game. Whereas the other couple 13-win seasons, like I'm thinking of the 90s Bills, they did not have that extra game.
Agreed.
And it's kind of like, all right, I don't know, 15-2 is probably would be like the best record because it's like you had the fewest losses in a season. So I have to look at it a little bit, not the most wins. It's like the fewest losses because that makes it better. Or if that makes sense, because it's the 17-game thing has now diluted records. Like today, I saw Mike Evans had a 1,000-yard season and he matched Jerry Rice with the tied with the most all time, and it's like, well, he had an extra game. It's good for him. Cool. He's the man. He did it in an extra game than Jerry Rice did. So it's like, yeah.
Evans missed time with an injury. But yeah, you're right. There was only 16 chances, to play before, and now there's 17. That's kind of how I felt about if Barkley played and he would have beat Dickerson's record. It's like,
exactly.
17 games.
Yeah.
Dickerson beat OJ's record. OJ did it in 14 games. Exactly. So there's always that end of it. But still, at the end of the day, a standard is a standard.
Sure.
But again, it was not even a thought to risk getting anybody out there. Look, two things mattered in this game as far as the Bills are concerned to me.
I want to hear this.
You pretty much said one of them already. Wow, they came out of the game healthy. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Backups or not, you don't want to get anybody hurt because these guys might have to play if the starter goes down in the playoffs.
Sure.
So at least visibly coming out, and Sean McDermott didn't mention any specific injuries post-game. So the Bills came out of this game healthy. Firing away was the most important part of Sunday. And then also something that, doesn't necessarily affect the Bills maybe directly, but it does matter. The Bills, by losing, directly costed the New England Patriots the number one pick in the draft next year. That is no small thing. I mean, they went from picking first to fourth, and that's a lot. I mean, look, they have a cap room. They already have their quarterback. So if they had the first pick, they weren't going to take a quarterback, man. They could have gotten the firing from somebody moving up to get a quarterback, and they still could have traded out 2-3 spots maybe and gotten, wide receiver Travis Hunter or somebody like that. They control their own destiny. So that was a very costly win for the Patriots. By the way, Jared Mayo got fired literally an hour after the game. I don't even know if you knew that, but
yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, the Patriots head coach got fired. It certainly sounds like, and there were rumors that decision was made before the game even started. So he was a lame duck.
Oh yeah, they had that statement ready. And it was like 300 words. It felt like.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think Robert Kraft fired him because the Patriots lost the first overall pick. I think that decision was made previous to that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But in terms of the Bills, like I said, nobody got hurt. That matters. The way they use their players, there are a lot of guys who did not see a snap at all. The entire offensive line did not see a snap. Nobody. So they sat the entire offensive line. Mari Cooper was inactive. Kincaid and Knox were both active. They did not see a snap the entire game. They went with Quentin Morris and Gilliam the whole game. Josh Allen, like I said, he played one play. No Ed Oliver.
I will shoot whichever. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Actually, I'm not. I will shoot whichever content broke, because I know what's going to happen. In July, there's going to be a player that had a good game today, and they're going to take film from this game of the third quarter and be like, look at this guy we have in July, in August, and I'm going to kill you. So please do not do that. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Defensively, no Oliver, no Jones, no Groot, no A.J. Epinesa. Von Miller only played the first series. Matt Milano did not see a snap. I want to talk about that in a
Yes,
second.
I was right. He listened to me, Coach McDermott.
He did. No Terrell Bernard. No
darn.
Christian Benford. In seriousness, though, the way they use him, the most interesting thing to me was definitely Matt Milano. Okay, so I thought that maybe, he's played 4 games since he's been back. I thought he looked good last week, but still had, room for improvement. And I thought he might get some work on Sunday. Turns out that he didn't. So to me, that tells me 2 things. It tells me Sean McDermott thinks he's ready because he obviously gave him no work on Sunday. And it also tells me that if there was any potential who's going to start controversy between him and Dorian Williams, there most definitely is not, because it's going to be Matt Milano. That was kind of obvious. He was one of the players important enough to not even see the field today. So they feel like he's where he needs to be. And the risk wasn't worth the reward to play him more on Sunday. So he's your starter. It's hard to ask you questions about a game you didn't watch.
My bad, dude. Okay, no, I could give you.
I'm assuming you think it's the right call. It's the right call that Matt Milano didn't play to you. I'm assuming.
Yes, I talked to you last week and said it was stupid. I know you don't remember my podcast when I'm on because you're too busy thinking about where you're going to take the whichever Bills beat bro to the Wing Fest during my talking points. But yes, I said that last week. He's a veteran. He's 30 years old. He knows the league. He knows the team. Now, I'm good. I don't need reps against a crappy 3-win team that just fired their coach. He's not going to prove himself. No one today.
4-win team now who cost him the first overall pick.
Yeah, it's like the Lovie Smith thing from like 2 years ago when Lovie Smith won that game that cost the Texans their first pick, and then he got fired the next day.
I'll say one thing though. What? If you're you didn't watch the game, but if there was one part of this game that actually was entertaining, preseason style or not, there was one factor that actually was kind of fun to watch and surprising, and that was the Patriots quarterback, Joe Milton. Dude, he came in early and he played really well. He had
he's going against backup, so I'm not shocked.
He's a 5th, 6th round rookie who's first snaps in the NFL ever. So It's not like he's some kind of veteran who carved up, backups who's done it before. He literally never played before. So this is his first NFL action ever. Dude, he went 22 of 29 for 241 yards.
Oh, my God, you have
and a touchdown. And he avoided some sacks. He had some really nice throws on the run. He had a touchdown. It was kind of like Josh Allen-esque, actually, the play itself. And it was, by the way, on Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp got smoked on that play. So it wasn't all backups out there for the Bills. Damar Hamlin played the whole game. Rapp played half the game.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Rasul Douglas started. Look, I'm just saying, the guy played a good game. I don't care who it was against. It was a regular season game. It's his first. You're not going to give him any credit, are you?
Nope, none. No one gets credit. None.
This isn't the Joe Milton legacy game for you.
No, I'm happy for him. In 10 years from now, he could be around the Christmas tree and play in the VCR. Look at this game. I started a game in the NFL, guys. Let's watch this and drink some cocoa and eggnog.
I wonder, you see something like that, he puts it on tape, okay? Let me ask you this. So you put a performance like that on tape to 31 other tems. He's got no future in this organization as a starter because they got Drake May, who's the 3rd overall pick, and he's a very good quarterback. You wonder if just one game, one performance can lead to a trade and an opportunity maybe somewhere else. Didn't Rob Johnson kind of have like that one good game?
But he had
it a season or was it a game?
He had 2, and he had it against starters. That's the key. Okay, look, one of the best finales I ever saw was that finale against the Dolphins where the Bills benched their guys and they scored 50 on Miami, costing the playoffs. Matt Barkley looked like Montana in that game. That did not mean Matt Barkley was going to go start somewhere. Okay, so no, you're I don't know what you're on. I don't know what's in that Game of Thrones mug. I think there's freaking some spiked vodka or something in there. But this is ridiculous. There's nothing you could pull for this game from here. But you know what? Actually, I'm an honest, benevolent. I can't even say it. Guy.
Because you're not being truthful. That's why you can't say the word because you're not being honest about it.
No. I will say this. Going back to the Steelers 2004 game. The 2 guys that had a breakout game, and that was James Harrison and Willie Parker. So anything is possible. They were like rookies then. So I guess, you never know. But I think it's safe to say it's not. But I'll give you a little bit of the rub or whatever. I'll let you get a finisher in, I guess here, or a freaking suplex on me, you jobber. This is terrible. This is all. Keep going. Can we just keep going? Keep going.
So I probably shouldn't tell you that Joe Andreessen, Buffalo Joe, had 10 tackles at team high today. That's not going to impress you, is it?
I'm sure that South Buffalo's celebrating. I'm sure you're gonna DM him and go, "Thanks, buddy. I'll see you at the Wing Fest maybe in a couple weeks."
No. Let me ask you something for real though. Okay, now on a serious note, let's pretend this is talking New England, talking Foxborough, whatever the hell you want to say.
Talking Foxborough.
You're a Patriots fan. We're talking about the Patriots, and you're playing a team. You're done. Your coach is a sitting duck, and all you got to do is not win against a 13-win team. And even the Bills' backups are good. And by the way, Keon Coleman played the whole game. Matt Collins, they had enough guys out there to make plays. Curtis Samuel actually played a good game. They had plenty of guys out there, the Bills did. Ray Davis, a lot of carries. James Cook scored a touchdown. So all you need is for your team to lose and you win. What it costs you, it was like the fans in the stadium didn't know if they should cheer or boo. They were kind of sick about it. Like they probably didn't want to tank the whole season, but when you're sitting there in week 18 and this is the finale and you got that number one pick and you already got your franchise quarterback, so man, oh man, you are holding all the cards. All you got to do is lose and you win. If you are a New England Patriots fan right now, how would you feel? What would your reaction be right now to this football game and to just going out there and winning?
I don't know if it's as bad as you're making it sound, mainly because listen, can I make my point? They already have their franchise quarterback, maybe. Like they're excited about him. Drake,
they definitely do.
Yeah, he had a good rookie year. And I think sometimes if you would you rather have that? Sure. But when you have that quarterback already, it may not mean as much as like previously. Like, oh my God, like, they weren't going to take a quarterback. And, sometimes I think about like instances in football history. Like, look, what if Stevie Johnson catches that football in 2010? The Bills don't have the third pick. They don't pick Marcel Darius. And guess what? If he catches that, they go to the 4 through 7 slot with Patrick Peterson, J.J. Watt. I think there was another really good A.J. Green. What if they pick one of those guys? Those three guys much better than Marcel Darius. So you think about that. Like you can get into that sort of dilemma. So I can understand them being like, you should have lost this game, but it's not. You won't know if it's the end of the world until at least 2-3 years from now. But again, you already have a quarterback in place, and I think that kind of tempers the, oh, you should have lost kind of thing. But it's happened to the Bills a couple times. It happened, like I just mentioned, like that, happened I remember 2001 when they picked the Mike Williams draft. They beat the Jets on the second. They were the worst team I ever saw, the Bills, the 2001 Bills. Worst team ever they had. They beat the Jets the second to last game, and they cost the Jets, like the Jets were supposed to clinch a playoff spurt. They didn't, and they fell a little bit. But anyways, like they won that game, and they could have picked what was it, Joey Harrington, I think it was that year, or they could have got David Carr, maybe Peppers. I don't remember whether
I think it was Harrington.
Yeah, because they would have flipped with Detroit, I believe. But like, yeah, it happens, and it's kind of, I don't think it's as big of a, oh my God, like this is so great for the Bills in comparison to New England. I don't know, because again, they have their quarterback, and I do firmly believe. Look, you're in the top 5. You're still in a good shape. In the top 5. Like if you went from like 1 to 9, then yeah, that's panicking. But yeah, look, it's fun to like make fun of them because yeah, you're right. Like it should be bigger. Like I would do it more and make fun of them. But if I'm a Patriots fan, I probably try to spin it and go, you know what, whatever. Like we're still picking 3rd or 4th or whatever they're picking. 4th. Yeah.
Well, 4th matters. So here's how I feel when you say they have their quarterback, and they do. And that is big, but it's also big. And I'm going to pull up like the current now. This is the top 10 draft order as of right now. Well, not as of right now. This is it. It's Tennessee, Cleveland, New York Giants, New England is 4th, Jacksonville, Vegas, the Jets, by the way, because they won today. They moved down a few spots, so they're now picking 7th. That's good. Carolina, New Orleans, and Chicago. Those top 2 teams, Tennessee and Cleveland, 1 gazillion %, and the Giants at 3. All 3 of those teams absolutely want a quarterback. We're not going to get into the draft now of all times, but there's 2 quarterbacks that are expected to go at the very top, and then Travis Hunter, who won the Heisman. That's the guy I think the Patriots would want. because they don't need the quarterback. So they could have went from 1 to 3, traded down with one of those two teams, and still gotten the Travis Hunter who they want, and might not even get at 4 now. And they would have picked up extra picks. It hurt them more to win. They were in the driver's seat with a lot of things. But I will say this, we're talking about it as fans. If you look at it from the coaches and the players' perspective, I'll say this. I think there's two things that I know coaches, players, they play to win. GMs will, make decisions to sit players or make bad trades, stuff like that if a team is tanking. But the coaches prepare and play to win. The players definitely play to win. Sure. And so they put winning as a priority. Coaches, when you're good, like the Bills, and we saw it today with the Rams too, by the way, they put health above seeding. A lot of coaches do. I'll give you an example. The Rams just played today. They played Seattle. And if they beat Seattle, they would have hosted Washington. But they lost today. Now they got to play. Whoever loses the Sunday night game that's going on while we're doing this show between Minnesota and Detroit, now they got to play Minnesota or Detroit. Big difference than Washington. But McVay decided to sit Stafford, Karen Williams, Puka Nacua, Verse, Cooper Kupp, all of his star players, none of them played this game. He was willing to lose that game and have to play a tougher team in the first round than risk a player getting hurt, which kind of surprises me a little bit. I think I would play for seeding, but the Rams decided that it wasn't worth risking a player getting hurt. That surprised you a little bit?
Maybe, but you also have to remember the Rams don't exactly have a great home field advantage. Like when they play at home, half the crowd is for the other team because
they would have been at home no matter what, though. But the opponent, if they play their starters and win, they play Washington. But they sat all their guys, they lost, and now they got to play Minnesota or Detroit. It's a big difference to me. No.
No, I mean
Minnesota and Detroit are
you know what? Teams. If you want to keep going in the playoffs, you eventually have to meet those teams, like the better teams. So
sure.
I don't know. I get what you mean, and sorry, I have dad brain. But yeah, that doesn't who gives a crap about your seeding? I don't think it matters all that much. As long as you have the home playoff game, it's fine. But one thing I'll say this too about going back. I'm sorry to go back to New England. I feel bad for Mayo. Like the dude gets fired after 1 year.
Yeah, that sucks to get fired after 1 year.
Like what? Like the optics on that look really bad. And right now, that the whole AFC East, and I don't know if I'm going ahead of myself because I don't read your rundown all that much. And I forget it pretty quickly. Those other teams are just a disaster. Like such a disaster. Like you got Tyreek Hill saying stuff after the game, he wants to get the hell out of Miami.
Yeah,
the Jets are an embarrassment. Their owner's an idiot who has Madden ratings on how he grades teams. New England, look, I got respect for New England. They won a gazillion championships, but it was a lot of it was on Tom Brady and how good is other crafts. And firing your coach after 1 year. That doesn't look good. And I'm sorry. You look, maybe it's hey, they want Mike Vrabel. Why didn't they give Vrabel last year? He was fired already. Why didn't they pick him then? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. And I read an Athletic article that had Mayo. He didn't handle quotes very well. I was who gives a shit? Sean McDermott's not a quote man. The guy did a freaking a speech once about 9/11. Who cares? I don't know.
I know what you're saying. Now, firing a coach after 1 year more times than not seems stupid. But I also read
it's a complete rebuild too. It's not it was a complete rebuild.
It was, and again, I don't follow the Patriots enough. I didn't watch them play 17 times this season to know for sure. But reading beat reporters for the Patriots, it really seemed like Mayo was making a lot of bad coaching decisions, in game, a lot of bad roster management, a lot of just questionable things. And you could also look at it from the point where if you're Robert Kraft, hey, I made a mistake, and you know what? Rather than waiting 2 or 3 years or 8 years like the Sabres probably will do with Kevin Adams before cutting your losses on a bad decision, you get out from it after 1 year.
I guess it just
to your point, though, about the division, you are right. You look at Miami, their quarterback, who knows what his health is going to be going forward because now he's got a hip issue again. You just mentioned it. Tyreek Hill told reporters pretty wild. He basically said he wants out of Miami. I would be surprised if he's back with the Dolphins. They got a lot of old players on that football team as it is. And again,
Yeah.
a questionable quarterback decision. I don't think they got a winning head coach. He beats up on bad teams. That's all he does. The Jets. The Jets are a disaster. Aaron Rodgers is gone. We don't really need to get into the Jets. Everyone knows they're a joke. The Patriots got the franchise quarterback. At least they got a high draft pick.
Kind of.
I mean, coach is coming in there. They got $130 million or some crazy shit in cap room. So I think of those three other teams, the Patriots are probably the most likely to get better quick. They're not a good team right now. That team just flat out lacks talent. They're not good. Yeah, they only got about 4 or 5 good players.
Well, look, they had a lot of cap space last year, and they didn't really use it all that much. And now they have more, and I think that's probably unfair. Like, Mayo's probably going to sit there and go, "You're going to go spend money now. You didn't really do it when I was there." So, I'll just say this: look, the Patriots won. I don't even know how many division titles during the Brady era. I think they won every year,
all of them.
except like 2. One he was injured, and the other one I think Brady was hungover and banging Tara Reid. I don't remember, but a lot of the reason why they won was because that division was always a joke. Like, the Bills were a joke, the Jets were a joke, the Dolphins were a joke. Like, they went years not going to the playoffs, for God's sakes. The Jets are still going through that. And if you can go through that sort of stage where you're when you got Josh Allen, you're in a machine right now, and you got some shitty division teams, and you can win the division easily, like they just did this year. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's a long road down to see where these teams are next year, but man, it doesn't look great. And like, print the T-shirts for next year for the division champion 2025 Buffalo Bills. It seems like, because those teams are effed a little bit there.
All right, I'm back here with Joe from Queens. I was trying to explain too before the break with the Patriots, the players, they ain't out there trying to lose. Teams will tank, but a lot of those players ain't going to be there. Those players don't know if they're going to be back for the rebuild, for that first overall draft pick. In some cases, having some audio issues on this show. I don't know.
That's your fault, not mine.
No, it's mine. It's going out. It's really flimsy, the connection right now. I was starting to say, and apologize if it goes through on audio, but I'll kind of say it again. With the players, they're not out there to lose. They're not out there to tank. They're out there to win football games. They work hard all week. They're preparing to win. In some cases, those guys that you're trying to tank for, that you're going to draft, are coming to come take your spot anyway. So they're all in to win football games. You can't really fault them. They play with a lot of intensity. New England today, I thought they played with a pretty good amount of enthusiasm, all things considered. They hadn't really have anything to play for. I'm sure they knew that a lot of their own fan base wanted them to lose that game. So I thought they played with some enthusiasm. Now it's different. Like, say if you're the Miami Dolphins on Sunday and you're hoping to get in the playoffs still, that's an emotional letdown when you realize Denver's blowing out Kansas City, and then you kind of fall apart and you kind of just go through the motions. But there was no reason for the Patriots, the players, to go through the motions out there. I got no problem with them. If I was a Patriots fan, I'd be sick about it for obvious reasons. But I would also understand that these are professionals and they're players and they're trying to win football games. So I really can't take issue with it from that perspective. There were a couple things I liked about this game. Am I allowed to mention a couple players real quick?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I'm just going to drink my beer. Go for it.
All right, you drink your beer. Curtis Samuel played for the first time in several weeks, and I thought he looked good. Caught a couple passes, looked quick, couple quick slants, yards after catch. He had like 7 catches for 52 yards. So I thought he looked good. And on the defensive side of the ball, doesn't really do anything for this year, but I really like Javon Solomon a lot. He could have had a couple sacks. He whiffed out a few sacks, but he's got some pass rush juice. I see a lot of Von Miller in him, in the future. You really don't give a shit about this game whatsoever, do you?
You know what? I really feel bad that I should have like gave you a bigger heads up than I'm not watching this game from last week. I should be like, you know what?
No, it's all good.
No, it's good. I just like making fun of you. Okay, go ahead. I'm really intrigued.
Player incentives. It was fun to watch players actively try to get incentives too. Again, Von Miller, $1.5 million for a sack. That's a lot of goddamn money. And he got it literally on the third play of the game. So he didn't play another snap after that. I'm sure Sean McDermott was worried. Do I play him into the third or fourth quarter if he's trying to get that $1.5 million? That never came to be. So he got a sack. That was actually pretty exciting. Mac Hollins needed 2 catches for $50,000. He got those on one drive in the first quarter. That was pretty fun. And then again, one of my favorite moments was Sam Martin punting 35-yard line. So again, you didn't watch the game. This might have been one of the best plays of the game, actually. They punt from the 35-yard line. Sam Martin punts. It takes a bounce, and it looks like it's going to go into the end zone. And Jamarcus Ingram flies foot just before the goal line, catches the ball in the air, knocks it back into play, and they down it at like the 2 or 3 yard line. That was $100,000 punt for Sam Martin. I'm like, you owe your boy Jamarcus Ingram some dinner because you weren't getting that money. Jamarcus Ingram literally got you $100,000. That was really, really cool. Maybe the highlight in a game that don't mean shit of the actual day for the Bills. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, this just popped in my head. Mm-hmm. If the XFL or whatever that league's called now, I know it merged. If they decided to do something, they should let people know these are roster bonuses before a game. If this guy gets 6 catches for 70 yards, he gets 25,000, and people would want to watch that to see if he does it. Because that, you're right. The way you describe it, this guy gets this, he gets a bonus. If you had that in the NFL where every week there was something like that, mm-hmm. Oh, hey, you get a bonus if you get X amount of things. I think people would be more intrigued by shitty games, in these other games. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's intriguing. I mean, right then and then, the effort he's making to get his punter paid, in a game that doesn't mean dick. That's cool.
I think it says a lot about the team. I do.
Sure.
And the culture of the team. And I do think that matters some. When it gets to be off season, look, it's always going to be about money and opportunity. But when a tie goes to the runner, that's the saying. If you got two teams that are kind of equal and you know what it's like in Buffalo, you know what that locker room's like, you know what, that the organization's trying to help you. I think I saw something. I don't want to say all the details. I don't know. But Dallas kind of fucked Cooper Rush out of playing time.
Yeah, I saw money. That.
That's the kind of shit players remember stuff like that, man. And they'll also remember punting from the 35 so your punter can get a shot at $100,000. I really do believe that. To me, again, I thought that shit was really cool. And then bringing James Cook in the game in the third quarter when they got close to the goal line to give him an opportunity to tie O.J. Simpson's record for rushing touchdowns in a year, which he did. That was really cool as well. So in terms of, like I said, Curtis Samuel, I thought was moving around pretty good, and that might matter in the playoffs. And forget about the stats or how he played. It's just he looked fast, all right? He looked perfectly fine, so you might need him at some point in the playoffs. That was promising. In terms of things I didn't like, again, and I know you didn't watch, Damar Hamlin started and played the whole game. I thought he was awful early on in the first quarter. Maybe it was just some rust. He got beat on a couple plays. He looked really bad early, but then he was fine after that. He was fine. Taylor Rapp did not have a very good afternoon. He looked lost a couple times, including the big touchdown that New England had. I ain't worried about him going into the playoffs, but still, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least note that. And Tyler Bass, I mean, he drills a 49-yard field goal. You feel good about him, and then he misses an extra point. And it's like a rule with Tyler Bass, man. You can't get confident. You can't let yourself feel good about him because then he just misses an unexplainable kick. And obviously that scares the shit out of you going into the playoffs. I wanted to put up this post from Blue Sky. Ryan Kay said, it's not funny. I shouldn't even laugh. I just had a nightmare of a thought, he said. This is our year. We make it to the Super Bowl. We're down 1 with 9 seconds left on the 28-yard line. It's 4th down. Tyler Bass trots out and end of post. Pretty much alluded to a 47-yard field goal to win a Super Bowl. Your level of confidence in Tyler Bass right now, it can't be high, dude. I mean, do you get a sense that there's going to be a game somewhere in the playoffs, wild card, divisional, whatever, where Tyler Bass can't afford to miss a kick? Hasn't hurt him this year, these misses, but another missed extra point on Sunday. That's concerning to me. Because I just don't trust him, and I never will.
It's tough to say. So while you're talking about the kicker sister, I was looking up other kickers because I am curious if a lot of this is just in our head. Do other kickers miss kicks?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of this, or we're just used to Tyler Bass being kind of automatic and the pressure is so on for the Bills to do good. Like, I'm just looking at like the numbers a little bit. Like the Dallas kicker, he led the league, or he was second, I think, going into today or afterwards. I'm looking at ESPN. He had 36 field goals made out of 43 attempts. Mm-hmm. That's 83%. Like, is Dallas like panic? I know they're out of the playoffs, obviously, but is there like, oh my God, their kicker's terrible? You know, Fairburn, the Houston kicker, 35 of 41 field goal attempts. He missed 6. He's at 85%. Do you know how many for the year Tyler Bass has missed? He's 23 of 28. He's missed 5. So, like, there are other guys who do miss kicks. And then the extra points. Right here, I'm just looking up his numbers.
I feel like Tyler Bass has missed more than most.
He's missed 4.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but keep this in mind. This may sound stupid, but he's had 62 extra points or attempts. Yeah. That is a lot. Like to give you an example, the Steelers have 35. I'm looking at that now, and just going through this real quick. 4. He might have the most of the PATs. There's a guy, the Seattle guy has 3 misses. I haven't seen the LA Rams guy has 4. I'm looking at this now. There's a couple guys who have like 4, like not many, but there is a part of me that does wonder if this is kind of in our heads a little bit. Like, and I'm not here to say like, oh, don't worry about it. I am a little bit concerned about it, but I do think like if you go look up kicker stats right now. Like kickers, like, is he in the top 5 like he used to be? No, but at the same time, it's tough. It's tough because I think there's. I think
the seed was planted because of the big kick he missed last year.
Yeah, very good.
It's already been planted, and it hurt them last year. So I mean, you know,
because you can tell in that. I think he missed I don't know. I think he missed a kick in the first game. You could tell there was that like, oh shit, and then. It didn't help that he didn't have like a great preseason and he missed a couple kicks. And it's always very easy to go, oh, he's hitting a a kicker's block or something like that.
Sure.
I'm there with with like a worry, but I'm not in this, oh my God, like we're gonna die phase yet. You know what I mean? Because again, go look at his numbers, compare him to everyone else. It's not that big of a difference. I think you said it best. The seed was planted with that Chiefs miss, and then like in the great August training camp of doom, which everyone shouldn't watch. I think there was a lot of like, oh my God, he missed a kicking practice. He doesn't look good, and it just kind of rolled. Where when he misses a PAT, it is so deflating on Bill's Twitter for everyone, or not Bill's Twitter, but Bill's social media. Even media guys are like, oh my God, he missed a PAT. Like. If he missed a PAT last year, are you going to have a heart attack? I don't know if you would, but I think now because it's cliche or it's very easy to fall into that. It's like, oh, the guy made a fucking 61-yarder or whatever the fuck it was to win a game.
Yeah, he drilled a 49-yarder Sunday right down the middle. Like I said, but it's the shorter kicks. I don't know. It's just there's paranoia. There's definitely a measure of paranoia.
But how much? I'm sorry to interrupt, Pat, but how much is that really like? Bill's brain of like everything goes to shit very quickly.
Sure.
Versus let me compare. Like I said, I just went to go look at his numbers. They're not as horrific. He's not like, oh my God, he's missed 7 of his last 9 kicks. You know, it feels like the same as a lot of peeps. I can go look at them afterwards. But
sure. If there's a lot of kickers, if they kick for the Bills, maybe you'd be feeling the same way. But the point kind of still remains. It's like, you want to just have full confidence in him. You want to feel good. Sure. There are some kickers, like Boswell for Pittsburgh. He comes on the field. I'm like, yo, he's making that kick, man. He's not missing that. And then he doesn't. I'm sure you're going to go look him up to see if I'm wrong right now. But that's the sense that I get anyway. That's the feeling that I get. And I don't get that feeling with Tyler Bass. And I don't know that I ever will. And yeah, there is a gloomy, Bill's brain trained to expect, like in the playoffs, to lose a kick or a game because Tyler Bass misses a kick or something like that, an extra point, something, an overtime, something like that. That's a little bit scary. Before we talk about Denver, a couple fun facts. I got 2 for you here. Stats from the game, not from the game, but for the season now. The Bills tied an NFL record this year. The fewest turnovers since 1993 when turnovers first started being tracked. So in the 31 years that turnovers have been tracked, The Bills just tied an NFL record with the fewest ever as a team with 8. And that's remarkable considering you have a gunslinging quarterback who's throwing, 18 interceptions or whatever the hell he threw just a year ago. And then the Bills, with the touchdown pass to Ray Davis today, they became the first NFL team in history with 30 rushing touchdowns and 30 passing touchdowns in the same season. So, again, it's a pretty good shit all in all. And I don't care that the Bills lost. The loss means nothing. If anything, it might haunt the Patriots a little bit down the road. So you're haunting a divisional rival a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of amazing just how much they scored this year, the Bills. And they had a 1,000-yard rusher. They didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. And it's just kind of incredible. Again, it was the stupid everyone eats. I hate that slogan, but it was kind of,
it was
true. It just was like they scored all these points. And it did well. One thing I want to ask you, one thing I know you said Hamlin had a bad game in the beginning. He eased up, but it's very tough to shit on Hamlin only because he's playing with a bunch of other backups. If you're playing with backups and you're doing vanilla schemes, no one's gonna look great out there. And I'm not here to sit there and go Hamlin's great. I'm not gonna stand for him. I really don't care. I'm okay, whatever. I have whatever. But it's hard to assess. Oh man, it is. I will say this: it is interesting. He played the whole game, but as you told me last week, everyone has to play, and that he could have been the guy. If you were to ask me who should be playing, on defense in a game, I got to pick 2 guys that gotta play a lot of snaps, it's him. Okay, yeah, play the safety, sure. Who gives a fuck? He's back there. Sometimes he doesn't got to do dick because they're running the football anyway. He's going against an offense that doesn't really pass well. Big deal. Play and get your,
I don't fully agree with that. I don't fully agree with that about who you're playing with other backups. It matters in some positions. Can I speak? Let me give you an example. Let's just say Keon Coleman. You're trying to evaluate Keon Coleman. Well, yeah, you got a backup offensive line playing for a backup quarterback who's throwing him the football. You can't put any stock into what Keon Coleman does. Or if you're trying to judge Ray Davis with the backup offensive line.
Okay.
Well, defensively, your job, you're a safety. Your assignment is to cover somebody in an area of the football field, and the guy beats you. Okay. I don't give a shit who's fucking in front of you. It don't matter who the linebackers are. You're a safety. Your job's to watch a tight end, and that tight end smokes you on it. It doesn't matter who the defensive tackle.
Well, it depends what that play is. If the defensive line, which is backups, aren't getting to the quarterback, and he has to hold up longer, it's tougher. And again, you're using schemes. What do you think, Bobby? Bobby Babbage was probably drinking a Gatorade and fucking talking to who knows. What are you talking about?
He got beat twice in the first quarter on routes. Okay, it ain't got nothing to do with anything else, but the guy who he was watching beat him. But again, I'm not saying the guy was awful the whole game.
Can we talk about Cobra Kai, please? I'm done with this game. I'm done.
He had a bad start, and then I said he was fine. I do think this coming week, if there's one thing that Sean McDermott's going to that he might be undecided about, it's not Milano. Milano's your guy. I think he might be undecided about whether he starts Cole Bishop or DeMar Hamlin against Denver this week. I do think that might be a decision for sure. We'll see how that plays out. So we do know, like I said, now we know they're playing the Denver Broncos, okay? Sunday, 1 p.m. I think I speak for most people when I say I'm glad it's not Cincinnati. That said, though, let's be a little careful here talking about Denver because this is no sleepwalk. This is not a essential bye wild card game. The last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, last year the Bills played Pittsburgh and it was Mason Rudolph at quarterback. And I think the year before that they played Miami when it was Skylar Thompson who was the quarterback. Skylar Thompson, Mason Rudolph ain't coming to Orchard Park.
And Mac Jones, don't forget him. He was
Mac Jones too down the line, or a couple of years ago as well. Those dudes weren't coming into Orchard Park and beating the Buffalo Bills in January. It just wasn't going to happen. There was no real threat to me. Anyway, with the Bills losing those games. This is a Denver team, though, that is again, I'm going to give them some respect. I'm not going to put too much stock into today because, again, Kansas City, you want to talk. Sure. If you think the Bills played bland and didn't play anybody, you should have watched the Chiefs game because they literally weren't even trying. A lot of people out there saying the Chiefs, in part, wanted Cincinnati out of the playoffs just as much as the Bills or anybody else, too. But I don't know if that's true. And I don't think you're a three-time Super Bowl champion. I don't think you're worried about the Bengals making the playoffs. But anyway, my point was the Chiefs didn't play anybody. So let's not get too high on what Bo Nix and that Denver offense did today. But this is a okay offense with a rookie quarterback, but a talented rookie quarterback and a very, very good defense. Well, I'm going to break down shit all week, but I did do one thing before the show here. I went to look up their EPA, like their expected play numbers in comparison to the league. Offensively, they're like around the middle of the pack, a little bit lower. Like they're 17th overall EPA offensive per play. They're 20th in passing EPA and 18th in rushing. Not very good. But dude, defensively, they are second overall in defense EPA. They're number one against the pass EPA, and they're fourth against the rush in EPA. A lot of talent on this football team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they got a couple of big guys on the offensive side. Cortland Sutton is really coming into his own near the end of the season. Patrick Surtain is an all-pro corner. They got a lot of good players on this football team. I still don't think they're better than the Bills, but this isn't no walk in the park, I don't think, coming up on Sunday. Denver's got some skills, man.
Yeah, going into this game, Denver was 10th in scoring, and they were 5th in points against. So they've scored 24 a game. They've given up 19 a game. You didn't mention the Bills did lose to them last year.
They did. Yeah, that was an anomaly of a game, though, man. Russell, got Dorsey fired.
They still lost. It was a close game where everyone thought they were going to get run out of the building. It was close. It was in Buffalo. Like there's that. I think it does have some, like, you can look into that. I don't think their roster has changed that much, Denver.
They've got it has to an extent, but let me put up something else. Now I just gave Denver a lot of flowers because I think they've earned a lot of respect. But
sure.
Howard Simon put up a tweet, and I didn't even realize this until now. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect Denver, but facts are facts. Denver is 8-0 this season when they play teams with a losing record, and they were only 1-7 against teams with a winning record. And that lone victory was against Tampa. They have losses against Seattle, Pittsburgh, the Chargers twice, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati. And again, we're not even going to count today's game because the Chiefs weren't even trying. So this is a team that really beats bad teams and is not beating good teams. Sounds a lot like the Miami Dolphins, although I think Denver is significantly better than the Miami Dolphins.
There's two games that stick out to me from Denver this past year. And again, I wasn't watching all the games like you are going to lie that you did. No, I'm kidding. I know you wouldn't lie that. The Kansas City game where they're about to kick a field goal to win the game and Kansas City blocked it. So and it was a chip shot. They could have won that game. So that kind of flips
in Arrowhead too.
In Arrowhead, they were pretty good. The thing that I don't know works that great is the Cleveland Browns with Jameis Winston scored like he had 500 yards in like passing yards in that crazy Monday night game, and he threw some picks, obviously, and it was like the hilarious Winston stat line of like he had 6 touchdowns or something and for each team. I don't know, but like obviously their defense did get hurt in that game, but they have played some not so great teams, and I think that is interesting to see how they do. I do take a lot when it comes to who have you beaten, who have you lost to. I think like if you play against bad teams and you're kicking their asses and you're playing like shit against good teams, it does matter. And I've been a big proponent of that. So Denver's kind of like, Denver's been a weird team. They kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone had them making the playoffs this year with a rookie quarterback. And I think Sean Payton got with last year, like Russell Wilson wasn't very good. And like, I think people were still thinking about Nate Hackett as well, like from 2 years ago. I don't know that much about them in terms of like how are they going to do here, but I think the thing I would be looking for this week when you're prepping up for these games is I've seen online that Sean McDermott's really good against rookie quarterbacks, and I'm trying to remember how many times has that happened? Like he had success against Tua, he had success against Zach Wilson probably. Like how many of these quarterbacks ended up becoming really good? Like after they were rookies, you know what I mean? Like, is it kind of is it like he beat up really bad rookie quarterbacks? Because Bo Nix looks good, as a rookie. So it will be interesting to see how he does in that. But that's the big.
But he is a rookie. He is a rookie, though.
He is a rookie, but
he's a fun rookie to watch. He's got some Josh Allen in him, by the way, on some levels, including. So look, if you're worried about Denver, or not even so much worried about them, but if you're talking about the good things about Denver, by the way, I'm looking at the games that they lost this year to these good teams or teams with winning records. They lost to Seattle by 6 and Pittsburgh by 7 to open the season, which I don't put a lot of. Sometimes, look, Baltimore lost 2 times early in the season. They sucked. They turned up. Then besides that, they lost to the Chargers by 7. They got boat raced at Baltimore. That was their worst game. They got killed that game, 41-10. And then the Kansas City game, what you talked about, they should have won. They lost by 2. And then they lost at LA by 7. And then they lost in overtime at Cincinnati just last week, which was a thriller of a football game. I think of Denver, and again, I'll talk about more throughout the week with them. They're a highly competitive football team. They're good on defense. They can get after the quarterback. Dude, they got 3 guys on this team. They got at least 8.5 sacks this year. That was going into today. I don't even know the stats from today because they played their starters. But
Denver led the league in sacks. So and the Bills have given up the fewest sacks. So it's good. It's Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. Like they got all that shit. Yeah,
they got a true shutdown corner.
They got some
in
good
Patrick Surtain Jr. the third. Yeah. Brandon Jones is like the 3rd highest graded safety on PFF this year. He's been really good. Again, Bo Nix has got talent, and Cortland Sutton's a big-bodied playmaker. Those are the things that should scare you about them. If you want to have confidence, Sean McDermott does play rookie quarterbacks well. This is a huge game. This is the playoffs. The Bills have been down this road many times now. Yeah. Denver hasn't. So you got a rookie starting his first playoff game in what's going to be a crazy loud environment. And for all the fun things that Bo Nix does, he also has thrown 12 interceptions this year. So, I mean, he's turnover prone. But I guess
it doesn't feel like a lot for a 17-game season to me, but okay.
I kind of feel like it is. Maybe I'm
go off, King. I think you're off, but go off. It's your podcast. I'm just here to pay rent.
Now you got me interested in seeing where that would rank. That's no, he's like 7th or 8th in the NFL in interceptions with 12. The most is 16. Kirk Cousins. Who didn't even play a full season. He got benched. It is Geno Smith, Baker, Winston, of course, Darnold, Will Levis, Brock Purdy, and Bo Nix. So just saying, he can turn the ball over. You can get to him. Bills are 7.5-point favorites, by the way. Vegas right now, opening line.
It will be, and it will be like a coming. Von Miller's playing his old team that he played for forever. He'll definitely be fired up for that game.
That game last year, you mentioned the Bills losing. I forgot about it till you said so. Then I saw something in the comments. He said, what was the comment? Cody said, just don't have 12 people on defense. That's right. Leonard Floyd forgot to get off the field. Denver missed the field goal. The Bills had the game won.
And that was the thing where like Sean McDermott called the all-out blitz at the end when we were like, what are you calling all-out blitzes for against Russell Wilson? And
back to back. That was just
it was terrible. It was just like that I wanted to kill Sean McDermott like after that game.
Wasn't that the game before the Philly game that led to
No, that got him fired. That got Dorsey fired. And I don't know what the next game was after that. It could have been the Philly game. I don't remember off the top of my head, but no, you know what it was? I think it was the Jets game. I think the Bills played the Jets the next week and they crushed them. And it was like they ran the ball better or something like that. But that was one of those like they scored 25 points and then the defense kind of shit the bed against Russell Wilson, who everyone was like, he's dead.
Yeah.
It definitely had their fluky moments in that game. But look,
that was James Cook fumbled in the first drive and didn't play again.
Oh yeah, he didn't play. Cook was pissed.
Gabe Davis had a ball go off his hands. It was intercepted, and Gabe was right back out the next drive. I remember a lot of people being pissed off about that. Yeah, I'm kind of getting there with those. It was fuzzy, but
it was definitely it was not one of Sean McDermott's better games.
No, it was definitely not.
I definitely wanted to kill him. But look,
somebody in the comments too had a good point, because I was talking about like Denver, like nobody's ever won anything. They do have a head coach in Sean Payton who has won a Super Bowl. So, I mean, he does know what it takes to get a team to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to do it with Denver. You asked me about, what were you calling it every week? You would ask me every week, my something to doom with who we want.
The fear bunker teams. Like
the fear bunker team.
Yeah,
well, Now it's here. All right. So it was Denver, it was Cincinnati, or it was Miami.
All right.
I feel like we got the middle team.
Yeah,
you agree with that?
I agree. Yeah. I wanted to play Miami because I felt like Miami in the cold, they seem like a mess.
Sure.
We don't know if Tua's playing. Like, get out of here. And then Cincinnati was the scare factor, the fear factor.
I talked about the stress being gone early, about having to worry about Cincy. The downside of that was the excitement potential level of getting maybe to play Miami in the playoffs was also gone early because there was very obvious maybe 10 minutes into that game on Sunday that Denver was not going to lose. So I got a couple other topics that I want to get to before we get done with this show. But in terms of the Bills, Denver, I will be live Sunday, 9 p.m. Joe's probably joining me from Mexico. Right?
No, hold on. It will be from Florida. I will try to pack. I don't know if I'm going to pack my microphone. I haven't decided yet because it is kind of awkward to pack this, and I don't like you that much. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I should be good. I have to find a spot. I'll talk to we're staying at someone's house, so I have to get the layout, and it might be one of those like we have to do it earlier. Or we'll figure it out. Like maybe we'll do like a 7 o'clock. Let's do 7. Let's just do it. But I don't know.
We'll put it this way. We'll be live. We know that for sure. I will be definitely 100% be live next Sunday. Hopefully it'll work out that Joe.
I'll watch that game for a change, not this classic game that you want to frame in the box scoring above your toilet.
I am glad for a lot of reasons, including show reasons why this game is going to be Sunday.
Oh God.
At 1 p.m.
That's how you think. You're such a mark. Yeah, but
before we get out of here,
no, we're not getting out of here yet. I got some other takes that we got to get to. So for one thing, I want to let the viewers know something because I told you this. You already forgot because you don't remember anything I say. So for everyone's listening, we need the Chiefs to lose because I decided on my own to buy an AFC Championship game ticket in Buffalo if it happens. Yes, I decided to go on StubHub. New Year's Day, I get up. And I'm like, you know what? I thought about this for a day. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it because you never know. And part of the buy was like, it's like a scratch off ticket. Like it's not going to happen. Like I'm already like, there's no way the Chiefs are losing. And it's like, that's not happening. But if the Chiefs lose and the game is in Buffalo for the AFC Championship, I am going. I paid a fucking arm and a leg and a testicle for it. Okay. So like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, they gotta lose, but there's also a part of me like I should not be spending this amount of money, but whatever, YOLO as the kids say. So I'm hoping the Chiefs lose so I can go to that game because that would be epic.
I think the best chance of that happening kind of played out today. What I mean by that is this. So I was rooting for the Chargers to lose today against the Raiders because my thought was I would like to see the Chargers go to Baltimore. Because I personally know most people don't agree with this. Apparently, I'm in the minority. But I feel like the Chargers have had the better chance of beating Baltimore next week than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think the Steelers are shot.
Their offense, they're just flat right now.
People will counter, and it's not wrong. Divisional games are always hard. Playing a team 3 times in a year is always hard. I completely understand it. But my thought was the Chargers could go and have a better chance to upset Baltimore, which would kind of change the second round, and then obviously Baltimore would be coming to Buffalo, the path of least resistance for the Bills. But the way it played out, so now the Chargers are going to Houston, and look, it's no given that they're going to beat Houston, but if the Chargers beat Houston next week, I think the Chargers are the team that could go to Kansas City in the second round and beat them. Again, divisional team, they're capable of going blow to blow, blow for blow with the Kansas City Chiefs. They play them tough all the time. The Chargers, you got to get past Baltimore almost certainly because I don't see Pittsburgh beating them. Mm-hmm. But assuming Baltimore wins, that would set up the Chargers versus Kansas City.
And you're right. I agree with
Pittsburgh did stun Baltimore. That means Pittsburgh would be going to Kansas City, and the Bills would be playing the winner of Houston versus the Chargers.
Sure.
I don't want to play Baltimore, but I think if you want to have a chance to host the AFC Championship, the Chargers are right where you want them to be, positioned to play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I mean, that is a good look. I've been on the Chargers. Like, watch out for the Chargers. Like, I think they have a good balanced team. Justin Herbert's not a bum. Like, he's a very good quarterback. Harbaugh's
You know, they are, and I've even been worried about them against the Bills because I think they can do both on offense, and I've always said that if you can do both on offense, run and pass, you can have a lot of success against the Bills defense.
I say this about the AFC this season, and it doesn't feel like it in other years. All 7 teams in the AFC are good teams. I know Houston's played like shit a lot lately, but they still got enough talent.
They got some injuries, man. I mean, I wish we could play them. Like, to be honest, like I was scared of them. Like after they beat us, but then.
Well, we could.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying the first round. Like, I don't know if I would rather play Houston or Denver right now. Because
if you're rooting to play Houston in round 2, it could happen. Pittsburgh would have to beat Baltimore, and then Houston would beat the Chargers. That means Pittsburgh would go to KC, and Houston would come to Buffalo. But my point is, like last year, Pittsburgh, there was no threat. There was no way Pittsburgh was winning, and there was no way the year before Miami. Especially without Tua, there was no way they were winning.
Maybe I'll just keep talking. Hi. Pat's got some audio issues, but it's all good. I'll just say that can you get on back on? I forgot what I was going to say, but there you go.
No, this is really annoying. This is what sucks about not even just doing live shows, but
you know what?
Doing anything on the internet. It's just if the internet doesn't want to cooperate with you on a windy, cold, shitty Buffalo night, there's just not anything.
I feel bad. I feel like I just completely I was like Belmonte or on Major League 2 where our Bob Uecker was like, I'm out, and then like I was like, I don't know what to say, and I just felt like I was that guy. I don't know what to say, but I'm sorry, well, Pat.
I get a new notification that comes up when we're recording on StreamYard. However, you were indicating that it was up, but it wasn't up, but then it was. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and listen on the audio. Nothing we can do on the live video side, obviously, but on the audio side, I'll go back and listen and hopefully
fantastic inside baseball over here. But
listen. So before we get out of here quickly, too, want to talk Sabres real quick here. Actually, just 1 point. All right, dude. The Sabres. Kevin Adams is 40 games in his 5th full season as GM. The Sabres, when we're recording this right now, are at 33 points, dead last in the Eastern Conference. And they've won 3 of 19 games since the day before Thanksgiving. How does Kevin, how can you, to me, you cannot consider the Sabres serious about building a winner until they fire the general manager. You just, at this point, it's just ridiculous. You're dead last in the conference and you got a GM who's 5.5 years or 4.5 years into a job right now.
Well, look, I mean, the Bills are playing right now, and Terry's got a lot of attention. He's got to pay attention to the Bills right now. Look, they took forever to fire that jerk off of Ralph Kruger, like when they had like the 17-18 game losing streak. I'll just say this. I was at a bar the other night, and I was meeting a friend of mine who used to be a Sabres fan. He doesn't watch them anymore. I just decided to put him on the Sabres on my phone while killing a Guinness and a shot, and I'm like, let's just watch this Avs game, and they freaking blew it, and I was laughing. It was definitely like a hate watch for me. I just laughed.
Which one? Because they've done it twice against Colorado.
No, the latest one from a couple days ago when they lost 6-5 or whatever in overtime.
Yeah. They blew a 5-3 lead with a few minutes left. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like pathetic. I don't even know why we're wasting our time on that. It's just they're not competitive. It's Terry's hobby.
They lose 13 in a row. They go winless 13 in a row. Then they have 3 straight blowout wins. You're like, all right, man, they just went through a really rough stretch. Yeah. They're back, and now they've lost 3 more in a row, including going to Vegas and losing and having Jack Eichel. Of course, he was going to score a goal. I bet I was willing to bet Mike Harrington that Eichel was going to score, and he never responded to my bet.
He probably has you on mute because like everyone else does.
He might. I'm pretty sure Lance Ozowski does. So I wouldn't be surprised if Harrington does as well at
all right, is there anything else we want to talk about? Like, so everyone, I'm going to Cancun so I'm going to Cancun on Monday. So I'll be in Florida from Saturday. I'm going to humble brag here from Saturday to Monday, and then from Monday to Cancun until Saturday. So I should be on a flight because I think the Saturday playoff game for divisional, I think it's like 4 and 8. It
is
good. So I should be home for that because we're flying in early. So That's good. I did kind of want, you know what? I did kind of want, I know you said 1 p.m. I was kind of hoping for the Monday night game because I just wanted to watch the game in Cancun and be in a hot tub and like drinking margaritas and the game's on. And like, I'm just like living La Vida Loca, as Ricky Martin once said a long time ago. But I don't have that. I'll be in Florida. You're old stomping Browns, kind of. I'm in Sarasota. So
that's literally. What do you mean? It's kind of. That is literally where I live.
I thought you were Tampa, or no?
No, Sarasota, Bradenton. Like
okay.
Sarasota, Bradenton. It's kind of like Buffalo Orchard Park. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, like let me know where to go down there. I mean, we're staying with some people. They haven't told us anything that we're doing or anything. I mean, maybe they don't have to tell us anything.
I'll tell you a couple of places off camera.
Oh, thank God. But yeah, is there anything else we want to talk about? Since I mean, this is probably our weakest podcast of the season because who cares about this game? I know you care, because you're very excited about Buffalo Joe and like getting 10 tackles.
10 tackles, team high. He had a lot of tackles, but he didn't have like one of those.
Let me ask you
he looks
this.
like a really good player out there.
And you know what? You're gonna clip this because I'm gonna ask you a good question. The regular season's over. How would you assess this season for the Bills? Like, it's just regular season, like surprise.
It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
For the regular season, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say. Don't ask me what the 2024 season was, because it's still. If they were to lose next week to Denver, I'd have to take some time and evaluate it. I'd have to weigh the fact that I think they exceeded expectations to be where they are, the 2 seed versus losing to the 7 seed in the first round. It'd be like, what more can this team do in terms of, because the core of the roster's here and they are going into the playoffs next week with no major injuries. Like, everybody is going to be available to play. There's no stars that are going to be out. Not even any starters are going to be out of this game because of injury. So I would probably have to reassess as a whole, but in terms of a regular season, it's a 10 out of 10, man. You got the guy who's, I think, is going to win MVP this season, and you won 13 games.
It's tough for the MVP. I could see it going both ways. Like, Lamar was 40 touchdowns, 4,000 yards.
I think he was the best player, but he was not the MVP.
It's gonna be.
It might be a close. It might be a semi-close vote, but I don't think it's going to be as close. Like, if you go on Twitter and I put a poll up, maybe not me. I wouldn't be the right person to do it because most of my followers are Bills fans. But if a national, like if Mina Kimes put up a poll, who's the MVP, Josh or Lamar? I think it would be close to 50-50, like maybe 55-45, one way at the most.
Sure.
But I think Josh is going to win. I don't want to say completely comfortably, but I think semi-comfortably. Look, 13 wins, and he did more with less. He did more with less. The running back for the Ravens had 1,900 yards rushing this year. They had a 1,000-yard receiver. Mark Edwards had 11 touchdowns as a tight end. He's a top 5 tight end in this league. I hate taking things away from. It sounds like I'm kind of like, taking away from what Lamar does. I'm not. Lamar Jackson is one of the 2 best players in the NFL. What a fun conversation to have when you're quarterback. You're arguing about one of the 2 best players in the NFL.
Let me say this though. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, and I've been there with he's got more, but
he's got a lot more. But go ahead.
I wouldn't say a lot more. Like, look, hold on. What were their numbers? Like, you have first round talent at the wide receiver position. They're not like Justin Jefferson, and they have. Look, Peyton Manning won MVPs when he had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, 2 fucking studs. Like, God, I'd kill for those 2 guys on the Bills. So, but where's hey, he shouldn't have won it because he had that talent.
I like James Cook. Can you imagine the Bills' offense if they had Derrick Henry?
But here's the other thing. This is me being devil's advocate. How was Derrick Henry last year? He wasn't as good in Tennessee, right?
He wasn't. Yeah, they were.
Hold on.
They were a disaster last year.
Okay, but my point is this: don't you think Lamar helped Derrick Henry? Like, you have a good running back, or you have a good, quarterback that can help your running game.
100%.
Okay, so I'm just saying, like, he did help Derrick Henry. I'm playing devil's advocate here. You could say he helped Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry's like, fucking Derrick Henry's old. He's an old. He's got to be pushing 30. That's usually when you're like, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you're out. And he was rejuvenated this year.
We agree that Derrick Henry was not that good last year, right?
Yeah.
Well, he still had 165 more rushing yards last year than James Cook did this year.
Okay, James Cook, that's a different thing though, because in Tennessee they ran the ball. That's their thing. Like who was throwing last year? It was fucking like Ryan Tannehill, I think, for a minute. I don't even remember who it was last year. But like, it's a different situation. I don't think their cast. I did say this last week that I did think they had a better cast, but that after I evaluated, because I don't think about the MVP as much as probably a lot of people do. But I thought about like, is this cast that great? Like, what would they have first round talent? It's again, and there have been quarterbacks who have won with a lot of talent. I just went over it. Now, with that being said,
he has a 1,900-yard running back. He has a 1,000-yard first-round draft pick wide receiver. Zay Flowers is a first-round draft pick wide receiver with 1,000 yards. Bateman's got like 700 yards. He's a first-round draft pick wide receiver. Edwards is a top 5 tight end in the NFL. How could you say the supporting cast they're close? They're not close. Matt Collins leads the Bills with 5 touchdown catches this year, dude.
Okay, first off, Dalton Kincaid's a first-round pick. He didn't do much that year. So, like, do we fault him a little bit because of his draft status? Also, and again, Derrick Henry wasn't nearly as good the last couple of years. And I'm just trying to say, like, I think Derrick Henry was great because he had Lamar Jackson to take pressure off of him. I
agree with you.
Yeah, if Derrick Henry is playing with the fucking like. Give me like the Browns, the Bears. No, the Browns. Let's say the Browns. Like, is he going to have as good of a numbers?
No.
Lamar
Jackson helped make Derrick Henry. They've helped make each other. Yeah. But again, the guy who helped make Josh Allen last year for the last 4 years is gone.
No, I agree.
They help make each other.
I'm just saying that I don't think the supporting cast argument is as good as I thought it was. I just don't, because I think Lamar has helped those guys out. I think there are MVPs who win the MVP that have a great supporting cast. And I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here. I do still believe in Josh, and I'm just arguing for the sake of arguing kind of in a way. But I do agree that I think Josh should win it. He has more wins. They've had bigger blowouts. He's had signature wins in terms of against like Detroit and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to flip out if Lamar wins. Lamar had great numbers this year. Like,
I don't think I'm going to flip out.
Well,
a lot of Bills fans will. Bills Mafia is going to. No question about it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think the supporting cast thing is as great as I thought it was even. I just kind of think about because as I said, Derrick Henry wasn't nearly as good like the last couple of years, and Lamar helped him out. And I do think the wide receivers, they're good. They're first round talent. The Bills have a first-round tight end in Dalton Kincaid, and Dalton Kincaid hasn't had a great season, and that could hurt. That could help Josh Allen's case or hurt it.
To me, you say supporting cast. If you could take the teams and remove both quarterbacks and trade them, and you put Josh Allen with Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and Bateman, Isaiah Likely, and others.
Well, look, I had Mark Andrews in fantasy. He didn't do dick the first fucking 2 months of the season.
And he's still got 11 touchdowns.
He got touchdowns. I mean, everyone gets touchdowns. Butch Roll gets touchdowns.
That's more than double that anyone on the Bills had all season long. More than double.
I know, but I'm just saying, I get that. I do think to be clear, the Ravens do have a better supporting cast. I just don't think it's like, oh my God, like. It's not as amazing as like the 2020 Kansas City Chiefs with Hill and fucking Kelsey and Sammy Watkins. I don't think it's that good. And I think you should give credit to Lamar. I know you are. I know you're not like a dickhead about this. You're very objective, way more than all the other fucking content bros and Bills beat bros are. But I do think you have to give credit to Lamar for helping Derrick. I thought Derrick Henry was done. I really did. I was like, oh, he's fucking close to 30. Like, how many years has he been in the fucking league for? Like, he's supposed to be dead. Like, this is when you're dead. And I was like, okay, he's done. And this is just like, okay, great. Like, they're getting him. And I think Lamar helped him. Because, again, if you have a great running back or a great quarterback, it takes the pressure off the running back. People got to
– an all-time great running back that you're helping or he's helping you, a combination of both. And that's what I'm saying. The Bills don't have anything close to that, man.
But how much – but here's the thing, Pat. Like, do you give a shit about this is a passing league. Do you really think a running back is like that vital? Like, it's a running back.
I 100%. Why am I? Let me make a very, very clear statement here. I'm scared to play the Ravens. Not scared. I'm concerned to play the Ravens potentially 2 weeks from now, and it's not because of the two-time MVP. It is not because of Lamar Jackson. It's because of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry will run down the Bills' throats. That concerns me more than Lamar Jackson. Playoff Lamar Jackson, too, by the way, does not concern me until I see otherwise.
Here's where I'm going to get you right now.
Okay.
How did the Bills do against the Titans in 2022? They crushed them. And you know who was on the Titans? Derrick Henry.
No, I know.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, you're concerned about him, but that's where the MVP matters because Lamar has helped them. It didn't, and even when the Bills had that 20, I think it was 2020 when they lost in Tennessee. Derrick Henry didn't, and Derrick Henry killed Josh Norman. I kind of remember that game. Did he have a big game in that game? Maybe he had one big game. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I think he really helped him out. That's all I'm saying. I think he helped him out, in terms of that. And he should get credit for Lamar helping Derrick Henry out a little bit.
If Derrick Henry's not on the Ravens and J.K. Dobbins is still on the Ravens, like it was last year, or Gus Edwards or whoever, 2023, Lamar threw for about close to 3,700 yards and 24 touchdowns. This year, he's thrown for over 4,000 yards and 41 touchdowns. You think he puts up those numbers if Justice Hill and J.K. Dobbins are his running back and not Derrick Henry?
It's hard to say because Lamar was in a new offense last year, and I do think you get into a new offense the second year, you're a little bit better. Look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen's offense with Joe Brady this year is much, in my opinion, is better than it was towards the second half of last season when he took over for a little bit. I do think it has a little bit, but yeah, I do think his numbers probably go down a little bit. But again, so does Derrick Henry. I think you have to look at Derrick Henry. Was a guy look, he didn't have that much help, and he had some great years. I'm not saying, but normally when you're pushing 30, how many years? Go look this up. You should Google this before I Google it. How many years has Derrick Henry been in the league for? He's been in the league what is it? He's got to be 30. He's been fucking around forever.
He's got a lot of tread on his tires. There's no question about it, man.
Yeah,
he's also ran for the most yards of his entire illustrious career this season.
Yeah.
It's not actually. I take that back. It's actually not because he ran for 2,000 yards back in 2020. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is his 9th year in the league.
Yeah. 9 years is a long time for a freaking running back. And that's a guy who doesn't play. He is not a, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not a running back by committee guy. He's had a lot of wear and tear on his body, as you said. So I'm just saying, if you're going to say the supporting cast, sure, the wide receivers, he's got first round talent there, but they are younger. I don't think they're oh my God, elite wide receivers. They're good. They're not elite.
Sure. We could debate how much better it is. But one thing I know you got to agree with me on is that Josh Allen has done more with less. I mean,
I agree.
To what extent we could debate, and we are debating how much of a difference it is.
Josh has done more with less. No,
13 wins.
I agree. He's done more with less.
Signature wins, like you said. He was AFC Offensive Player of the Week against Kansas City and Detroit, the two signature wins. And you can't not hold it against Lamar that they lost to the Browns and to the Ravens. To the Raiders. Not a lot, but it's kind of like credit, an old thing that dings your report just a little bit. It's at least got to give it a little bit of a ding. So those are the reasons why I just think Josh is going to win MVP. Hey, I'm not going to lose my mind if he doesn't, but I will think it's bullshit. And I think a lot of fans are absolutely, and media people too.
You think it's going to be bullshit if he loses?
Yes. I just explained why.
That's bullshit. Feels very I don't know. That's kind of an extreme. I don't think
this is the funny thing about this. This is the funny thing about when you.
By the way, real quick,
friends at the water cooler, when you debate something like this, it's almost like one of those. It's not even about a winner or a loser. Say this is an election. If this is Obama against McCain, there's a winner, there's a loser. In this conversation, it's is it really a loser? Because both guys are just there. You know what I mean?
You just said bullshit. That seems
because I think Josh Allen deserves it this year.
By the way, Derrick Henry had 1,100 yards rushing last year. So what happened? He just fucking found the fountain in the youth. And he just took steroids.
He's playing with an electric quarterback that helps make him better. Conversely, Derrick
deserves that.
And so does saying Derrick Henry makes Lamar Jackson a hell of a lot better. It's proven. Look at the stats this year. These are by far the best stats Lamar Jackson's ever had in his career. By far. You don't think Derrick Henry has anything to do with that?
I do, but I also think it's the other way around, and I don't think the other way around has been.
You're like
talked
splitting
about.
votes. Like that's one political party that you.
Well,
split
I'm just
votes
saying.
between
I don't
them.
think it's
Josh
bullshit.
gets all the left side votes.
You want to go
they
tweet?
split the right.
It's bullshit, and then you and the content bros and the Bills beat bros can have a fucking round table about woke mind virus or I don't know whatever. Like Lamar won because of bullshit. I don't know. I think Lamar he played really well down the stretch last.
If you had an MVP vote, if you were
I'm
one
going
of the
Josh.
50,
I'm going Josh.
You had one of the 50 votes because there are 50 voters.
I'm going Josh, but I don't think it's like this. Oh my God! Like you're absolutely right. People are going to lose their fucking mind, but I don't think it's bullshit. I think it's like, okay, he won. I could see why he would win. His numbers are better.
Yeah, bullshit. Maybe bullshit was an exaggeration. Maybe I should have said bullshit.
They're one game better than the Bills. Or I'm sorry, the Bills are one game better. I know, like, hey, and you definitely have to put into perspective, like, yes, the Bills benched their guys a bunch of different times this year. And
they weren't supposed to be that good.
Yeah, and I think that matters. And I think there is the voter fatigue. I think Ryan Clark made a good point with the Charles Barkley comment. Like, people get sick of kind of voting for the same thing. I know Bills beat pros were very upset about that and decided to fucking, chase him down. But hey, good for you guys. Hope that made you millions. But I think it's a good, fun water cooler debate. But I'm not going to be like, this is bullshit. Oh, and
all right, I admit it. I said bullshit might have been an exaggeration. I would think it's the wrong decision, though.
Sure, yeah, you could think that. I mean, and
bullshit might have been, but bullshit might have been a little strong.
Okay.
Conversely, our common buddy Bree, who I at this point is kind of trolling. I love him too, dude. He's one of my favorites.
No, you hate him.
If I didn't know any better, I would think he's a Ravens fan and a Lamar Jackson stan, and he doesn't think Josh Allen's that good. That would be my thought if I know him though. I know him, and he's really good at drawing tweets that are going to get people, including me. I take the bait way too much.
He does deal with like good points. He's not a troll. He's not an
idiot.
No. He always has good points.
Agreed.
Shout out to him. I don't know if he listens anymore because I'm not. Really
I have no idea either. No. I love him. He's got great points most of the time.
He's got to listen more.
My point was I wouldn't think he was a Bills fan. I would think he was a Ravens fan.
He's a Bills fan. He's happy.
Well, if you're a Bills fan and you're pushing for Lamar Jackson to win MVP. It feels like there's a little bit of I don't want to say, well, maybe it is trolling. I don't know what you want to call it.
I think it's more of like he sees the reaction with the Bills. I think the Bills fans, Bills Twitter are very crazy about it. I've told you this before. I'm going to say it again. Bills Twitter has always been obsessively negative about Lamar Jackson. I remember in his rookie year when Lamar took the Ravens to the playoffs and then he struggled in the playoffs. And I remember being on Twitter and everyone was jerking off and being like, oh my God, he sucks. Why did they go through there? I remember that, I've never seen a guy when he struggles in the playoffs. And yeah, that's a big thing. He needs to be better in the playoffs. Go, this guy shouldn't have won MVP. And that's on Bill's Twitter all the time. It happened a couple of times. And I like to say that. It's one thing to say this dude just chokes in the playoffs. So, he needs to be better. But it's another thing to say, he shouldn't have been MVP consideration. That's a little bit much, for me. And I feel like
that I agree with. But I think you're putting Bills fans in a box, in a vacuum where it's all fans. I personally have seen Ravens fans, and I see this because some of these Bills fans are ridiculous with their Twitter. They quote tweet fucking everything to the point of annoyance. But I see a lot of the stupid shit Ravens flock are saying about Josh Allen. There was even one meme from a respected Baltimore fan who had a picture of somebody from Baltimore having a gun to Josh Allen's head. I mean, it's like that everywhere.
I am curious about. I think the content bros in the media in Buffalo have been really over the top about it a little bit more than I would have. I don't know if Baltimore, if the fucking Bills, the Ravens beat guys are doing the same shit. But I don't know. But I'm just saying when I see people who have a credential and they are upset about the MVP and they're calling out Ryan Clark. Yeah, I'm subtweeting your boy over there. I forgot his name, but. When you're doing that sort of shit, that's are the Ravens media doing the same thing? It's
I don't know. You know what sucks, too? You know what sucks?
What's that?
Is we're at the end of a show. Well, we just ended a regular season where we know who the Bills are playing in the playoffs. We know when they're playing them in the playoffs. Yet you and I and many other shows and people are doing the same exact thing. We're arguing this. Here's the worst part. I wish whoever wins MVP, I wish it would be announced tomorrow. But it's not going to be announced to NFL Honors, which I believe is the day before the Super Bowl. So this shit is going to go on no matter how the Bills, whether the Bills lose, whether Baltimore loses. Though the best way to say F MVP, the way no one's going to care about MVP is if Buffalo and Baltimore play each other in 2 weeks. Whoever wins that game, that's all that matters. You could have, like, I'll trade Lamar getting MVP if the Bills beat the Ravens, and I'm sure Ravens, at least intelligent fans, will say the exact same thing.
I'll just say this, and then we can close out. This season has been like, thank you for having me on for all these. I think I missed one regular season game. I mean, technically 2 because I didn't watch today's fucking game, but I think I missed 2 podcasts. I appreciate you having me on this year. Highest ratings ever, I'm assuming. I could be wrong. Definitely. Yeah, sure. I feel, look, the Bills proved me wrong this year. I had low ass expectations. I had to go in 9-8. Like,
you put it out there on Twitter.
I'm a schmuck on wheels and think I'm not on Twitter that much as I was before, because I would be deleting that tweet probably by now. But yeah, it's still pinned to the profile. But I've been thinking a lot about, like, if they like, I feel like they're playing with house money a little bit from my perspective. It's like, if they lose, I can't be. Depending on how they lose, like, whatever, like, look, if they got to the AFC Championship, like, successful season. Like, if they lose in the divisional game, really depends how. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm going to be as enraged as I was last year or the year before, because my expectations were so low for this team heading into this season. And it does feel like, you do have that, a little bit of that house money, with, like, Jesus Christ, you went 13-4, you set a team record for touchdowns, all that crap. And that's how I feel. I feel like there's not that much pressure on me, like, in terms of, like, they better, like, I'll get intense on Sunday. I will. But it's been a great season, and we'll see what happens, like, if they lose like a 13-second version, then I'm erase all of this what I just said, because then I'll lose my mind. But it does feel a little bit different, where just the expectations were so low for me, where now it's like, I didn't think they were going to be here. I didn't think they were going to be the 2nd seed. I didn't think they were going to have 2 divisional games in a row at home, or 2 playoff games in a row. It's a successful season, and I hope they go far. Obviously, I think we all do, and I think they got a good shot. Baltimore's the real team that scares me. I mean, going to Kansas City sucks too, but they've been singing, and I think. It feels like it's clicking, and you don't want to be too, like, you do have that, like, we talked about the Tyler Bass, bad memories of why we're on, like, all over his ass. And that's always there with the Bills for me, but I really feel this is a year that they can take it. I don't think the AFC, I think these teams are beatable, all of them, even the Bills probably to a certain extent. And Josh, I think, is waiting for this, like, it's like it's clicked for him this year, and I think I'm hoping, obviously we all are hoping they go all the way or whatever, but there is a cool calmness to me as of now until probably Sunday, where I'm like, they're doing this with house money, because I did not expect them to be here. I had them at 9-8, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm eating the crow with mustard and hot sauce, or whatever the fuck you would probably eat on crow, and going, this tastes good, because I did not think they were going to get here.
This is the last point I'm going to make, because we'll be, win or lose, we will be on next week. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just looked at the timing. Oh my God, we're at 90 minutes. You're going to yell at me. All right.
No, there's a lot of talk.
You're going to yell at me.
I'm leaving a lot of stuff on the table, non-Bill stuff, but we'll say that can be saved for another time anyway.
We got the off season. We can talk Cobra Kai.
I'll say this. Because we're going to be, win or lose, we'll be talking next week. If there is a scenario where the Bills lose next week and we're on the air to talk about the season ending, how they lose is going to matter to me. Like, sure. I'll give you an example. Let's just say they lose because Josh just has an uncharacteristic bad day and he's missing open throws, sure, or the weather's terrible, whatever. Or he has a couple bad interceptions that he really stayed away from all year. The offense just doesn't look good. I'll be mad in the moment, but when I reflect, I won't be too mad. I'll be like, dude was the MVP this season. Well, what are you going to do, man?
It's a bad beat.
Sucks. Yes. But if they lose because the defensive line gets no pressure on Bo Nix, or if they lose because in a close game, because Sean McDermott does something stupid to put the team in harm's way.
Things we've seen before.
Yes. That's when I'm going to start to say, is this team ever going to get over the hump? Is Sean McDermott the guy to get this team over the hump? Is the nickel defense that they play all the time the right defense? Do they believe way too much in guys like Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones and A.J. Epinesa and Terrell Bernard? Do they believe in these guys way more than they should? Is the philosophy that Sean McDermott has when it comes to football, is it good enough? So how they lose matters. You know what I'm saying? And
Sure.
obviously, it still would be a good season in a way because, again, they did exceed expectations. But if they lose because the defense just, Ed Oliver does nothing, which he's done in the last 2 elimination losses, things like that have happened before that rear their ugly head again. If that's why they lose as early as next week, any week really, but especially this Denver game, that's what'll really have me upset the most. And that's, I think, something that will linger for a long, long time, as opposed to, say, if there's just a couple bad breaks don't go their way. Josh has a couple tip passes, they get intercepted that weren't getting intercepted this year.
Yeah, if it's deja vu again, I get that, and I can understand that. But I can't see them losing against Denver. But I think, look, I would say, like, whatever happens, like, get to the AFC Championship, like, even, like, if they went to the AFC Championship and, like, Ed Oliver would just say the defensive line got obliterated by the Chiefs, like, that would be disappointing. Mm-hmm. But I'll be like, it was a great season, maybe, in terms of that. I hate thinking about that, but I do have that, like, what happens if things go kind of wrong mentality. But we'll see. I think they've been saving their bets for the playoffs. I think we saw it the last couple of weeks with them just kind of waiting and, like, being like, all right, let's bring our big guns now. And that's why I think a lot of people today didn't play. I know you were very disappointed that Matt Milano didn't play because you wanted.
I was not disappointed.
Yeah, you were. Oh, come on. You said it last week. You were disappointed. Give me a break.
Well,
you were like,
Matt Milano or Sean McDermott clearly decided that he was good with him going forward. I trust Sean McDermott more than I trust myself. I like the fact that he was right out there with the guys that did not even see a single snap. There's nothing about this game that happened today that leaves me even remotely disappointed. At least not anything that's worthy of talking about in a big picture type of sense.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's wrap it up.
We are. This is definitely. I want to thank everybody because we've had a lot of people in the comments. Like I said, I've had some audio issues. Got a lot of comments that I didn't get an opportunity to get to. Definitely some topics that I hope to get to next time. Dude, I might actually do a live show, completely self-indulgent, has nothing to do with Buffalo or Buffalo sports, but Raw on Netflix Monday night. Most people are listening to this Monday. I might do a little some just to go live after because that's going to be a loaded historic show on Netflix. Everybody is going to be on that show, man. God, I'm a wrestling fan. I might do something live to if anybody wants to see a live WWE Raw Netflix recap, tweet at me or leave a comment on the YouTube.
It's going to be Michael Parthen. That's it. That's about it. Sorry, buddy.
That will be Michael Parthen. But anyway, seriously, I do want to thank everybody for watching. This was a long episode, but it was fun, man. I knew that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, it was not in the notes. I knew it was coming, though. It's always is, and it's going to come next week.
It's a fun debate. I mean, it should be a fun debate. I could see either case. I don't think it should be. I hope Josh Allen wins. I just hope it. I mean, look, I'm on, like I said, I'm on Blue Sky mostly, and it's not as annoying as it is on Bill's X, which I occasionally log into, and it's fucking obnoxious. But it's been a great year for quarterbacks.
Yeah, it is. All right, so thank you everybody for watching, for listening. Joe from Queens will be back with me. Like I said, win or lose, Sunday we'll figure out a time. You guys will know in advance, and I will be back. Brand new show, biggest takeaways from this game, and we'll start to talk more about Denver on the show tomorrow.